Hi, I'm Eric Scouten. I'm the head bartender and bar manager here at Port City Royal. I've been bartending for over 14 years. It's my belief that quality ingredients and technique go a long way to making the perfect cocktail. Today I'm going to be showing you how to make some quality cocktails using a quality vodka. Snowfox. Friday, you've been working all week, you're thirsty, you definitely want to have a good time this weekend. So we're going to start by making a Cosmopolitan, a classic cocktail made fairly famous by Sex and the City, but I assure you it dates far further back than that show does. So we're going to really do this the classic way. I'm going to start off by chilling my glass. Glassware selection on this is pretty important. So at home you can definitely use a martini glass. I'm going to be using a a cocktail coupe, which is a classic cocktail glass. We're just gonna put some ice in there so that it cools. I'm gonna set this off to the side while we're doing the rest of the cocktail. We get our shaker. We're gonna start this cocktail by pouring 1.5 ounces of Snowfox Vodka. Next up, we need an orange liqueur. You could use Grand Marnier, you could use a number of different products. I am going to be using Cointreau, which is my favorite. It's not quite as sweet and it's a little more aromatic than most of the alternatives. So 1/2 ounce of Cointreau. Next up is the cranberry juice. Now, I really like to use all natural products, so I'm going to be using a pressed cranberry juice today. It's very tart, definitely has a bitterness to it. You can use whatever your favorite cranberry cocktail is or cranberry juice. Just keep in mind that some are sweeter than others and that you're going to want to compensate for that. This cocktail should not be overly sweet, nor should it be overly tart. It should be just really smooth, nice and in the middle. So, I'm going to be adding 1/4 ounce of the cranberry juice. This cocktail is not supposed to be bright red. Now, if that's your preference to have a lot of cranberry, by all means, you can do that, but it should come out a nice, lovely pink. Next up, some lemon juice. This is fresh squeezed and filtered, so you just put it through a fine mesh strainer, something like this, works great. We'll be putting 1/4 ounce of lemon juice into our shaker. Next, some simple syrup. Again, as I said, if you're using a sweeter cranberry juice, you're not going to need a lot of this. You might not even need any, depending on how much of the juice you're using. I am going to be putting a little bit more than 1/4 ounce, so just shy of 1/2 ounce. Because the cranberry juice that I'm using is quite tart. Now, I'm going to be adding some ice. You'll notice I'm adding the ice at the end. Main reason is I don't want the ice to melt too much and add too much water into this cocktail. I like it to be fairly spirit forward, so that meaning that the alcohol is very present and I want to show off the vodka. We're using a nice vodka, so we don't want to hide it too much. If it comes out too strong, just put it back into the shaker, shake it a little bit longer and increase the water. Personal preference is what's going to dictate how you enjoy your cocktail, so don't feel any shame in adjusting these recipes. Make it your own. So our glass should be getting nice and cold now. Shake that out. Traditionally, this cocktail is served up, or what's called straight up, which means shaken on ice and then filtered back off or strained. I don't like to have a bunch of ice chips in my cocktail, specifically this one. Some of them, I do like the ice. This is called a Hawthorne strainer. So I'm going to put this on top of my shaker. And this is a fine mesh strainer, and I'm going to pass it through both of them to make sure that I don't get any little ice chips in my cocktail. So as you can see, we've got a nice, lovely pink cocktail here. It's not too red, it's not too bright. Something that you can do if you really want to, kick your cocktail game up a notch is use a nice aromatic bitters. For this particular cocktail, I really like the Fee Brothers Rhubarb Bitters, which is a product out of New York. However, I'm ordering it from a company called alambica.ca, which is based out of Montreal. I like to try and support Canadian companies as much as possible. We're going to put a small dash right on top of this cocktail, just a little bit. What that's going to do is increase the aromatic notes and make this cocktail really fragrant, which is a lot of fun. Set this off to the side. Now we want to garnish. This is a Y peeler. Pretty classic. You see it at everybody's house for peeling potatoes. I'm going to take a lemon strip or a strip of zest off of this lemon. Be very careful doing this. You don't want to cut yourself. You also want to avoid too much of the pith. So this white stuff is quite bitter. Not something that you're necessarily going to want in this cocktail. For some cocktails, it makes a great addition. Now I'm carefully going to cut the edge off to give myself a nice smooth edge. And then I'm going to cut a thin, long strip of lemon that we're going to roll up into a twist. So important with this to apply some pressure, but not to pull it too tight. You do want to give it a little bit of a squeeze. But if you pull too much, you're just going to snap that zest. So we just want it to have a nice little curl. And I'm going to set this on the side of the glass. And here you have Snowfox Cosmo. Cheers.